Welcome to the Voices That Propel Us, stories of justice, action, and community, a space where justice meets action and community voices rise. Each episode, we bring you stories from the front lines, changemakers, disruptors, and everyday heroes who are building a more just, equitable, and liberated world. This is more than a podcast. It's a call to listen, learn, and move together. You're just listening to music from the incredibly talented Stephen Kong. You can find him on Spotify and Bandcamp. Today we have with us Al Kushner. Al is an award-winning author, LinkedIn growth strategist, and sought-after keynote speaker. With 30 plus years of professional experience, Al specializes in helping financial advisors, CPAs, realtors, and business leaders build thought leadership and generate qualified leads through AI-driven LinkedIn strategies. His best-selling book, The AI LinkedIn Advantage, has transformed how thousands of professionals leverage AI to optimize their presence and drive measurable results. As host of the AI Authority Edge podcast and a trusted business coach, Al combines cutting-edge AI insights with actionable frameworks that audiences implement immediately. Okay, well, hello. I'm really excited and grateful that you're here this morning. Something that is really important to me is empowering communities and amplifying marginalized voices. So I'm really excited to see how we can use AI to help uplift people. So how are you doing today?
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
No, thank you for reaching out. I'm really grateful to be just connected with you. So, if you could talk more about how do you see AI being able to help amplify voices? Or I'd love to just hear more about the work that you do.
Well, I'm the author of a new book out. It's called The AI LinkedIn Advantage, and it helps people to optimize their presence on LinkedIn and become a thought leader, so they could basically be able to get messages across to whoever their connections are, which is important on LinkedIn.
No, that's wonderful. And when did you first start seeing AI as being something positive that we should start looking into? Was it that you were using it yourself as well?
Yeah, I would say the past 3 or 4 years, it has been rising up in the ranks of being a useful tool, and I think nowadays it's really incredible. You're able to create content on the fly, or create ideas that normally you wouldn't think about, as well as ideas for scripts. So it really gives you so much leverage in compared to not using it, that it's just, I think, an essential tool for everyone to at least check it out.
No, that's nice. So, what advice would you give to people who are just starting to test out using AI? Maybe whether it's creating articles or a post, or what are ways that people can start using it?
Well, just try out some of the basic platforms out there. Are you familiar with ChatGPT, for example?
Yes, actually, I use ChatGPT quite a lot.
All right, so you can check it out and use it for whatever purposes that you need it. A lot of people use it for coming up with ideas for content. A lot of people using it for questions to ask, and that's just one of many different applications that are available. I mean, my book has a whole list of these applications you can use, and find it a very good resource for those who want to optimize their profile on LinkedIn and use it as a strategic leverage. Because the fact is, a lot of people who are using LinkedIn aren't using it to its full capacity. And the fact is, if they're in a competitive situation, they're going to find out that if they're not using AI to help grow their profile, they're going to be at a disadvantage compared to the competition. So, yeah.
No, thank you for bringing that up. And actually, that's something that I've been thinking about myself too. So I use LinkedIn a lot. I'm actually in the job market myself and trying to look for work. And I keep getting these ads like you should upgrade to LinkedIn Premium, which you do have to pay for. But it was saying it will tell you what jobs you'd be the best fit for. So would you recommend that people go premium, or do you think there's a lot of free features that people can use just as well?
Well, I mean, premium, obviously it's a paid version of it. Whether or not you're going to be using it is one thing. Some people don't really use LinkedIn for whatever purposes. And I think that in your situation, I think starting out with a resource like my book would be a good starting point because it'll give you a lot of the tips and tricks that you want to use to help optimize your profile. And also, when you want to do outreach, develop a strategy. And you don't necessarily have to use premium for that, purpose. You could certainly
Hmm.
optimize your profile using AI technology, which I list in my book. So that's important. For example, I'm looking at your profile right off the bat,
Hmm.
and the most important thing is getting recommendations because that builds trust.
Okay.
Your
Right.
last recommendation was over 10 years ago. So that's something
Hmm.
that really is lacking, and a
Okay.
lot of people don't update their profile. You have a perfectly good image in the background that you don't even use, a
Hmm.
billboard that is really, could showcase your particular highlights to a potential employer. That's
Okay.
something that's important. So if you're in a job market like yourself and you're looking for an opportunity, the first thing the employer is going to look is look at your resume and look at your LinkedIn profile. And what
Okay.
they see on your profile right now is not impressive, and they're going to
Okay.
really look at other people, candidates for that position. So
Yeah.
you're at a disadvantage by not doing that.
So what would you recommend that would help to strengthen the LinkedIn profile? So even myself, like, thinking of images or, even like keywords or yeah, what really helps to have people stand out, I think, in a very crowded job market?
Well, the fact is that yes, you mentioned something about using keywords, and that could be something to be used in your headline.
Hmm.
Right now you just have a recruitment and outreach specialist, which really doesn't say much at all.
Okay.
And people are using LinkedIn as a search engine,
Yeah.
and just take a look at your competition, okay, and look under that category, and you'll find a lot more people who offer
Hmm.
a lot more comprehensive, information. And that's what a
Hmm.
lot of times these the employers are looking for: someone who has experience, someone who is going to offer value when they decide to hire someone. And that could be, a deal breaker for a lot of people who are not using LinkedIn to its full potential. So there's a lot of
Hmm.
things that I can work with you to how to develop it where it makes it attractive for your potential employer to say, yeah, we got to hire Denise because she really has what it takes. And that really can
Okay.
make a difference. There are great groups to join as well for networking
Hmm.
things, as well as in incorporating some, articles. Have you written any articles at all?
Yes, I write in, actually, I publish on Medium.
All right. Well, guess what? You should publish on LinkedIn. I mean, that
Okay.
definitely is going to raise your level of awareness. And
Hmm.
I think probably even more so because, again, people look at your profile. The first thing they want to look at is if you've written any articles, and you have
Yeah.
anything that you've done any awards, if you've done any volunteer work, for example. These are all essentials. And of course, recommendations are crucial for getting
Hmm.
third-party endorsements. So these things right off the bat, I work with people like yourself to develop that, and they see a
Yeah.
big difference. They see after we optimize your profile, they see that they're getting, invites for job applications. They're getting offers. They're realizing that they offer a lot more that sometimes people, recruiters don't really see that by looking at a simple profile. So there's a lot of opportunity to develop, your profile to make it more stand out, among the competition.
No, I appreciate you talking about that. And you also brought up something that I was just thinking about. So, when it comes to creating content and like posting articles or making posts, what do you think is like the reasonable amount that people should be posting? Because I've heard that you should like get visibility, put yourself as much out there, so daily or even multiple times a day, or sometimes I've heard like, just weekly is fine too. So, how often do you think that people should be posting?
Well, according to a lot of the experts I've been speaking with, at least, and I guess it depends on the circumstance, at least 3 times a week, I would say, minimum.
Okay.
Ideally, the best times are Tuesdays through Thursdays when LinkedIn is the most active. And
Hmm.
mornings are usually pretty good, 8 to 10, and afternoons from 12 to 2 Eastern Standard Time. So again, your time will be a little different.
Okay.
But also create a newsletter, and use that to send out each week,
Uh-huh.
because you may have people who may be interested in what you have to say. And newsletters, have you used a newsletter on LinkedIn at all?
No, not on LinkedIn. I'm not familiar with how to use that. Yeah, I'll
Well,
look for you if you want to speak more about yeah, using a newsletter.
yeah, well, newsletters, you can create one on LinkedIn, and they give you an option in your profile to post, and they
Hmm.
give you an option of posting as a newsletter, and you can actually create up to 5 different newsletters on the platform. And what's unique about these newsletters is that your followers will be notified immediately as soon as it gets released, not just
Uh-huh.
on LinkedIn, but also outside of LinkedIn. And a lot of times it'll bypass spam filters because LinkedIn has such a
Okay.
high authority that it just gets right into the inboxes, which is what you're looking for. And
Hmm.
people who are following you will be notified of that, and they'll look forward to receiving that information of value, that's educational, and at least once a week a minimum would be ideal, so at least
Hmm.
it keeps you top of mind to the people you want to connect with, and they could be potential employers that
Uh-huh.
maybe value what you have to offer, and you can give them some of the what I usually share is pain points that they
Hmm.
experience. So you can do that and create an article or use AI to generate ideas for articles about pain points that they're experiencing. You're in the recruiting business, I believe, right?
Yes. Hmm.
So talk about some of the top 10 things that employers are concerned about when hiring. Could be one example. AI can
Hmm.
generate some of these ideas, and then you could share this in the form of a newsletter that you could send out, and they'll be notified of this. And each week
Right.
they receive it, and you build authority that way. And that's important because authority and trustworthiness is the gold standard on LinkedIn. And once you
Okay.
do that, it sets you apart from every other competition out there. So you're going for the same job. The first thing
Hmm.
employers are going to look at is what value you're going to bring to us. If they see you're trustworthy, they see you got recommendations, they see you have articles, you see they got a newsletter, maybe you
Uh-huh.
created a video, for example. You got a podcast,
Hmm.
what you do. Guess
Right.
what? You can put episodes of your podcast on LinkedIn. Okay,
Uh-huh.
you create so much ways to create content on there that help you to provide value to whoever you're connecting with. And certainly if you're looking for jobs, it's a great opportunity to do that. And also when you're looking at that situation for yourself, I look at Sales Navigator as an opportunity for a premium
Okay.
version to actually focus in on employers who can hire you potentially. And you can,
Okay.
narrow it down to, their job title, for example, their where they're employed. Does it make a difference where they're employed, or you're looking for something local?
Um, yeah, no, right now actually I'm looking for work myself right now too. So, yeah, I'm looking for recruiter jobs. So, are you familiar with the AmeriCorps?
Not sure,
So
but
it's like the domestic version of Peace Corps. So basically, it's sending people out into different communities
mhm.
to like learn how to work in the nonprofit or school sector. And then so I would recruit from people, like in the Bay Area. And so I have those skills, but I think I'd love to work in the nonprofit sector still and recruiting for yeah, employers in the nonprofit. But I'm also open right now.
Easy. I can show you how to do that very easily using Sales
Yes.
Navigator, how to find these potential employers, the people
Hmm.
who are hiring them, and reach out to them and let them know about opportunities that if they have in their firm. And we
Uh-huh.
can develop your profile in a way that's optimized. So when they do check out your profile, they know that you are the real deal. That's important. And that you have a
Uh-huh.
podcast and that you have content. That's really what's going to make a difference because right now that market is very competitive and you have
Right.
to look at what you're dealing up against. So we'll take a look at your
Hmm.
top competitors and see what they're doing right and see if we can incorporate that into your profile and therefore have something that's going to be valuable. So when a potential employer connects with you, they say
Uh-huh.
that you're the one to talk to. I
Oh,
mean, that's
that's
simple as that.
wonderful. Yeah, no, thank you so much. And I'd love to also purchase your book and just learn more about this. This is something that really interests me. But yeah, what are some things that you'd like to highlight, like that you talk about in your book that you'd like to share with my audience?
Well, I do have a free worksheet that you can have access to. It's a LinkedIn
Okay.
profile optimization worksheet. You get
Hmm.
it at my website, linkvantage.com/audit, and you
Uh-huh.
can have access to it. It's a free worksheet, and it'll give you highlights on how to optimize your profile. And
Okay.
it's kind of complementary to the book. The book is available on Amazon as well as Audible if you prefer audio versions of that, as well
Okay.
as other fine retailers, which is important. And I do have a podcast as well you can check out. It's called the AI Authority Edge, where
Okay.
your listeners can check out and learn the latest tips and tricks on AI technology and how its uses with LinkedIn. So that
Hmm.
is a very good resource, I would say, for a lot of your listeners to try out. So yeah, definitely check it out.
Okay, great. No, I appreciate that. Something that I am curious to hear, like what your thoughts are, but what do you think about like AI kind of like replacing human voices as well? Because I know that there's some artists who like want to be like, they want to keep their voice pure, but actually for me, as I'm writing, I use AI to help me like enhance my voice and not to take over my voice. So I don't know, what do you feel about like the ethics of like using AI, and not having it like replace people?
Well, I think it certainly can complement what you're doing. For example, if you had a
Hmm.
podcast and all of a sudden you develop laryngitis, well, guess
Right.
what? I mean, you got to cancel it. But if you have your AI recorded and it
Mm.
sounds exactly like you, guess what? You could still be able
Oh,
to do that,
wow.
interview. So just think about the possibilities. It's incredible. So use it as a leverage, as a tool. I think is ideal. And I think that people who are starting to embrace AI are realizing that they are, they're kicking themselves. They should have used it years ago. Even though
Right.
it wasn't really available years ago. But now is the time to take advantage of it and start small. Start with ChatGPT. It's really a good starting point and see how it works for you.
No, that's wonderful. So, yeah, thank you again for your time. And just as we're wrapping up, where do you see AI and thought leadership heading in the next 3 to 5 years? Just as you're thinking about people using AI more often.
Well, I think it's more about being authentic, and that's
Right.
something that AI has cannot really duplicate. So being authentic, being who you are,
Hmm.
and AI can just really enhance your ability to, for outreach and to create ideas that maybe you never thought about. But just use it as a tool, but it's not a replacement for what real people can
Yeah.
do.
No, I think that's what I was thinking about when I asked you that previous question, because I've been thinking not just AI, but also beyond that. But I feel like, so I just went to San Francisco over the weekend and I saw like so many like driverless cars. And, then I hear about robots even working in like restaurants and stuff. So it feels like, in a way, technology is taking over people and like, literally taking people's jobs and stuff. So that's why I was wondering just what you thought. I was thinking more about that
It's
authenticity
also
piece
creating
too.
jobs too. I mean,
Right.
the highest paid jobs are prompt engineers right now, and people who
Hmm.
are graduating school are
Right.
offering six-figure salaries that it's unheard of. I mean, think about
Yeah.
it. The opportunities are tremendous, and also look at the data centers that are being created. They're creating jobs for people who are constructing these particular data centers across the country. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
booming business if you're in construction because guess what? There's a lot of companies like Amazon and Apple who are
Yeah.
making these data centers in faraway places, giving job opportunities to people like in South Dakota or other places that didn't
Mhm.
exist before. All of a sudden, they're hiring. So guess what? It's also a great opposite end. It's giving opportunities that never existed. So it
Yeah.
works both ways.
Right. No, I agree too. Well, thank you again. I had a wonderful time talking with you. Just before we wrap up, are there any closing thoughts that you'd like to leave my listeners or any other words of wisdom that you'd like to leave with folks?
Well, certainly, like I said, if you want to optimize your profile, check out my
Hmm.
worksheet. That's linkvantage.com/audit. If you like learn about AI technology, check out my podcast at the AI Authority Edge, available on Apple
Hmm.
and Spotify. Follow me on LinkedIn. I'm
Hmm.
happy to connect with you. I got newsletters I send out each week. And go to my website, linkvantage.com. I offer courses that you could take and how to optimize your profile and do outreach. So I'm happy to help out and become a
Yeah.
resource for your journey with AI and LinkedIn.
No, thank you so much. And I'm definitely going to reach out to you too, because I feel like I'm just not. So I do have a lot of experience. I just feel like I'm not showing up well on paper or my profile. So that's definitely something I'll be reaching out to you again. But yeah, thank you again for reaching out. I had a wonderful conversation with you. And yeah, I hope that you have a good rest of your day.
Likewise, have a good
Okay.
one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you for being here and tuning in to Voices That Propel Us, stories of justice, action, and community. Your presence in this movement matters. If today's conversation moved you, share it, talk about it, and keep the work going. Together, we're not just imagining change, we're making it. Until next time, stay bold, stay grounded, and stay in the fight.
Every time I feel so mad and sad and bad, I say to myself, relax, lean back, it's a brand new day. And every time I feel so down that a frown is all that's on my face, I remind myself to take a breath, it's a brand new day.